Hello, I'm Dr. Jeanine Parolini, your instructor for this course, and welcome to our Strategic Leadership course. Also, I'd like to welcome you to my messy office. So I am angling the camera away from my desk so you don't have to see it. I'd like to begin by sharing the most important thing in my life with you, which is my deep love and passion for Jesus Christ. Quite frankly, I've known him only half of my life, and what he has done in my life over that time is just absolutely incredible to me. I am only doing this work that I love because of Jesus coming into my life and me letting him in. I have surrendered my whole heart to him over the last half of my life, and he has truly shown me the way, the truth, and the life, and led me into work that I love, as well as led me into a personal life that brings me great joy. So I will talk about God and the Bible in this course because I'm passionate about his leadership. Yet please know that I am not intending to force my faith on you. In fact, if you have questions about faith and leadership, I'd like you to feel like you can approach me on them, and I will be a good listener and we can process your questions. So, to let you know about other areas of my life and my leadership, in addition to teaching, I also lead in a variety of contexts. For instance, I am also a consultant in areas of leadership and organizational development. I work with all different kinds of organizations, business organizations, ministry, or even academic organizations. I'm also a leadership coach to different types of leaders, including business, ministry, and academic leaders. I also volunteer my time in my church as a leader. And sometimes I take on part-time contract roles. Like for instance, I just was with a ministry for almost 2 years as their director of training, where I was training on cultural inclusion and equity, and just transition from that role. So sometimes I'll be doing that as well. In other words, I share this with you because I'd like you to know that I also can relate to being an employee, can relate to being a leader, and also can relate to being a follower. So I have stories that I can process with you as well on things that I think will, be similar experiences to what you go through. And I think that's important as a leadership professor that I'm able to do that. Also, in my earlier years, I spent quite a bit of time in business. I worked for an organization where I was a consultant and salesperson, and I got to work with so many different kinds of clients in that. At one point in my business career, I was actually awarded the Supplier of the Year by Grainger, which is a very large organization, because I was able to enhance their ordering, picking, packing, and shipping system. I really enjoy business, and I love even working with business leaders today. I also have experience in pastoral ministry. I've been on the pastoral staff for a couple of different mega churches in the areas of marriage ministry, singles ministry, adult education, small groups, and leadership development. I've also volunteered in key roles at several different churches. In addition, I have this experience, of course, in the academic realm, and related to academics, I've had some wonderful experiences. My dissertation was actually chosen by my university as a dissertation of the year, and more recently, I've been awarded the Faculty Excellence Award in one of the university settings I work in. So I'm truly grateful for what God has done and continues to do in my career. And I just wanted to share some of those things with you so that if you have questions or you want to process, some of your career pursuits or volunteer pursuits, that that you can approach me and we can dialogue about them. I have experience, as you heard, in business, in ministry, and in academics. So, I've just been in a variety of different roles in a variety of settings. So please feel free to reach out if you'd like to process your career with me or talk about anything that I've shared with you. I'm very willing and open to do that. So now let's talk briefly about our course and begin to discuss this topic of strategic leadership. The place that I would like to begin with you is, why are we doing the work that we do? Believe it or not, I think that's where we need to start when we talk about strategic leadership. Do we love the work that we do? Do we enjoy our organization, or do we enjoy the people that we're working with? Are we doing our work just because we need to make a living? What is our motive for being at our job? I think this is an important first place to start, because I would like to encourage us to live out our strategic leadership within our personal and our professional lives first and foremost. That way, we can enhance our strategic leadership of others. So I'd like us to process how we are living out our strategic leadership personally and professionally as we go on this course adventure together. So please think about some of these questions with me. Next, I'd like us to think about, why are we in business? Or why are we in academics as a student, or even if we work in academics, or as an employee? Why are we in ministry? Or why do we volunteer? Or why are we employed as a minister? So these are some good questions for us to ask ourselves about our own strategic leadership. Why do we want to know more about business? Which is what we are most likely focusing on in this course, but we can certainly apply these business concepts to learnings in ministry and academics as well. I hope that we are all in business or ministry or academics to be changed and to bring change to the world. I would love to support you in becoming a better person through this course and making the world a better place. That's why I do what I do. We are going to read about all sorts of reasons why we are in business this week. And I would like to propose that we do what we do to be better people and to make the world a better place. If we agree on this purpose, then what does it mean to our strategic leadership? What does it mean for our strategic leadership? Well, to me, it means that I have to be careful of the tone of my strategic leadership. I have strategic on the Strength Finder as my top strength, so it comes more naturally to me. And being strategic means that we see through the chaos of what's going on and what's happening, and we see a pathway through to the other side where there is more clarity. That's really what strategic leadership means, seeing through the chaos into clarity. Clarity actually brings health to teams and to organizations. Chaos for too long of a time can actually create much dysfunction. And maybe you've experienced that in your life within organizations. Chaos for a short or right amount of time can actually lead to clarity. So it can be a good thing. But we can't let that chaos go on for too long, or it will drain and harm people and actually harm the team and the organization. Have you seen that happen around you? Have you actually been drained or harmed by too much chaos over too long of a time? So this is why strategic leadership is so important. We need to intentionally work through the chaos to bring clarity to our teams and our organizations. While being strategic may come more naturally to me, I still have to build skill around it. While we may see how to get to the other side of an issue, we still need to be collaborative with the rest of the team to get there. This process of being collaborative takes quite a bit of skill building. At least that's what I found in my own life and leadership. I may be able to see things strategically quite naturally, but my ability to be collaborative with others through the process to help us all get there together is where the skill really needs to be built. So being strategic or intentional about working through chaos to get to clarity is what this course is all about. And yet perhaps even more important to that is the tone of how my strategic leadership comes off to others. Is my strategic leadership collaborative? If so, this will draw people toward me and toward you. Or is the tone of my strategic leadership more demanding or selfish or egocentric? This type of leadership may work for a time, but eventually it's probably going to lose people. Or is my leadership somewhere in between, being collaborative and maybe being a little bit more demanding or egocentric? If so, then those around me may feel that my leadership is a little bit inconsistent, or maybe a lot of bit inconsistent. So this course is about how we can improve our strategic leadership and the tone of it to be more consistent towards others. So here's what I'd like you to think about. First, how can we each be more strategic or intentional in our personal and professional lives? I think that's a key question, because our ability to do that is also then going to flow over to others and help us lead them better strategically. Second is how can we see our work as a way to be changed individually and then to make a positive contribution to the world? See, as I'm growing as a strategic leader, then I'm also able to have a more positive influence on others and their development as well. And then third is how can we be working collaboratively as strategic leaders in helping to move our organizations and our teams from chaos to greater clarity. Those are some things I'd like you to initially be thinking about as we begin this course. I hope this video and these questions provide some more clarity and maybe a simple foundation as we begin this course. We are going to encounter many aspects and functions of strategic leadership that may at times feel rather overwhelming. But if we can keep in mind that strategic leadership is about bringing clarity to chaos, that might just help when we get overwhelmed. And we want to do that. We want to bring that clarity in our own lives first, so that then we'll be able to bring change to the world around us and greater clarity to the world around us. So I believe keeping these simple principles in mind as we engage in this course will help us to maneuver this course when it does become a bit overwhelming at times. I have a few more points that I'd like to make as we wrap up this video time. One is that you will see resources that share the importance of business as a profitable entity as the most important thing. I agree that strategic leaders need to keep profitability in mind to keep the organization healthy. You will see resources that talk about strategic leaders needing to keep customers first. I agree that customers are very important to good strategic leadership in organizational life. Yet, what I would like you to also consider is the importance of employees as very key to strategic leadership. And what about focusing on employees first, say putting them at the top of the triangle, and then focusing on customers and the organization, including profit and financial and economic success, etc. So what if this is a triangle where employees are at the top, and then we've got customers at one side of the lower part of the triangle, and the organization and its profitability and financial success at the other side of that triangle. I wonder if every organization needs to assess and address each of these areas to some level as they think strategically. Yet ultimately, I wonder if it's not the employee that actually will support the organization in getting out of the chaos and into clarity. So I wonder if employees should actually be first. Please wrestle with this question as we move forward together and engage in this course. I would love your input on that as well. Next, I'd like you to consider that I've designed this course to help you practice your strategic leadership as you engage in it. I'm not perfect, so I welcome your feedback as we engage in this course together. If there are improvements that you'd like me to consider, please let me know. Please also consider that each assignment has actually been crafted to help you practice your strategic leadership and to help you live it out practically. So I encourage you to see that connection between an assignment and what you're learning and the resources in this class, that it's designed to help you actually engage those resources practically and apply them to the assignment. Let me know if something's confusing or if that connection is not quite making sense, and perhaps we can talk it through and help support you in seeing more of that connection. So as we go forward, please look at this as an opportunity to practice really developing your skills as a strategic leader. Lastly, also as we close, I'd love to have a brief time of Bible sharing with you. I really value Philippians 2. It's one of my favorite passages on leadership, and specifically the leadership of Jesus. In that passage, I see Jesus as a strategic leader that brought clarity out of chaos. Philippians 2 captures the strengths of his collaborative nature as he led strategically. In Philippians, Paul is teaching us about how to deal with some of the divisiveness that was going on in the church at that time. There were a lot of cliques that were interfering with getting to the vision and mission of the church. So Paul uses Jesus as an example of a great leader to follow, as the role model of how to maneuver through chaos like that. Please read Philippians 2 verses 1 through 11 and see how Paul inspires leaders to not lead out of selfish ambition, but to make others' interests as equal to ours, and to lead like Jesus, who actually served, suffered, and sacrificed for the benefit of others and the benefit of the whole. Jesus did not exalt himself, but he let God exalt him. As strategic leaders, it's important that we pay attention to others and that we value their input as we value our own ideas. We need their input to really be strategic in today's organizations that are moving so quick. We need the input of other people. So our job is to make decisions on behalf of the greater good, which includes more than our own opinions. So in this way, we actually serve and we suffer and we sacrifice for others by not giving in to our own selfish ambitions, but instead by making sure that we are looking out for the best interests of the organization and the team by including others in our strategic decisions. So I pray that as we go forward in this course together, that we become passionate about being changed to then be a positive change to the world around us. And I pray that we see our strategic leadership as a means by which we can be a positive influence and bring positive change by bringing clarity out of chaos. And I also pray that we do it with Jesus in our hearts, who will help lead us towards the interests of the greater good and help us to overcome our own selfish interests so that we can really make a positive strategic leadership influence on others. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I'm excited about having you in this course, and I look forward to this adventure together. And please let me know if you have any questions about this week, about the resources or the assignments. I look forward to talking with you next week.